This is the Universal Wrestling Podcast. Inside the ring, outside the ring, it's all here.
We're talking about the greatest sport of all, professional wrestling.
Now here's your host,
the cream of the crop,
Nick Dieterding.
Come on!
Welcome back to the Universal Wrestling Podcast. My name is Nick Dieterding. His name is Kyle from the Apron Bump Podcast. And let's not bury the lead. We have the leader of the Jackpack, Jack Tomlinson. Jack, how are you, sir?
I'm great. How you both doing today?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Kyle, what's good, brother?
Not.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not the Vessler, but I'm doing good. I'm the okay Sler.
There you go.
I'm not the guy with the super cool lights in the background, though.
Well, that is true.
Boom.
Is this a visual or just an audio or both?
Both.
It's gonna be both. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
everyone watching, listening can hear or see.
Yes.
You can't hear the lights. You can see the cool lights.
Yeah. Cool.
Ideally,
So,
yeah.
Jack, what have you been up to, man? Just graduated college. You went to Ireland. You must be living the life. How you doing, buddy?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it. I'm doing really good. It's been a weird couple of months. Just last night, actually, I was sitting down, just going through one of those like random Google searches that you get lost in this rabbit hole. You search on one thing and you just keep going with it. And I realized two things. One, the world is so disgustingly expensive. Not even like right now, just like in general, everything's so expensive. Because I was talking with a friend of mine in wrestling about like getting a place and living our life, because he also just graduated. And then we're like, yeah, well, I spoke to my father and he was telling me things that I'd have to start picking up and learning. And then I'm just sitting there calculating all the numbers in my head. And I'm like, okay, so I will be broke by last year, the way the world is going.
Yeah.
And then I found myself getting lost looking at houses on Zillow and like apartment thing.
Uh-oh.
And then I started looking at luggage, like sets of luggage, like and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm old. Why is luggage exciting me? This is so
it's all expensive too. You never really like think about that kind of stuff.
It is.
Stuff adds up.
It is. That was like something. I was talking to another friend. I brought this up to him this morning. I was like, dude, the world is expensive. And he goes, I know, man. You know, gas is crazy. I'm like, yeah, well, gas. Everyone's talking about that. But like, dude, really think about it. Like, think about how much like I don't know, like how many times did your house do laundry? How much detergent did you put in? How many times did you throw out the trash and trash?
It adds up.
And I'm like thinking like, oh my gosh, never thought about this stuff before. So
yeah,
this has nothing to do with wrestling. I don't know.
I'd rather. I just bought blinds for my house. That's something I never thought of. You have 15 windows in your house that cost $30 a piece.
Yeah, times that by whatever.
Growing up, man. Let me tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
But outside that, Ireland was awesome. It was incredible. I went with my entire extended family on my mother's side, which was about 25 of us. It was really, really incredible. And then from there, I got to meet extended family in four different families. So we have my grandmother's father's side and my grandmother's mother's side, and then my great uncle's father's side and my great uncle's mother's side. Met all those extended family, all those extended cousins. So that was really awesome. I got to go to Skellig Island. This is crazy, actually. I went to Skellig Island where Star Wars: The Last Jedi was filmed with Luke and Rey. So that was really cool. The craziest part about it, 2 days after I went, they shut down the island.
Damn.
I don't even know if my aunt texted me this. Apparently one of the rocks fell. And this is not like a safe island. Like you're scaling up this thing. It's about 1,000 steps up. You're in the middle of nowhere. It's like an hour off the coast by boat. So like, and there's no railing, there's no rope. Like if you fall off a mountain,
you're screwed.
And apparently like one big loose rock fell. I don't think anyone got hurt, thankfully, but like, all right, this place is clearly not stable anymore.
Yeah.
2 days after I went. So
there you go.
Timing is crazy.
That would have been a cool story though, if you got stuck on an island for however long.
I don't know if anyone would have heard of it if I got stuck there.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Yeah, I'm not Tom Hanks here. I'm not.
Yeah.
You wouldn't vlog from there?
That would have been a good one.
You would have.
Connection.
Yeah.
I did film a bunch of content up there, but I tried to go live on TikTok because I was like, this was a really cool live stream. Maybe 6 people would do it because the time difference. I was there at around 11 in the morning. So here it would have been about 10, 9, 8, 7. It would have been about 6 in the morning in New York. So no one would have probably watched it. I was like, this is cool. I'm where they film Star Wars.
Yeah.
So.
Well, speaking of TikTok, speaking of professional wrestling, Jack, for the people that don't know who you are, what the hell are you doing on a wrestling podcast?
What am I doing? What am I doing in this world?
It's too expensive.
Big question. What am I doing? Who am I? You know, I'm just a kid from Long Island. You know, I grew up loving professional wrestling. I don't mean to brag, you know, don't mean to be too full of myself, but you know, 18 years old, wrestled for WWE, 21 years old, wrestled for AEW, the youngest graduate in the history of Creative Pro Wrestling, former Creative Pro Tag Team Champion, current Victory Pro Wrestling Champion, got the belt.
Boom.
Right
Casual.
here. You know, I'm the Tom Holland of professional wrestling. I'm the only wrestler in professional wrestling, which is in fact a vlogging wrestler. Put the words together, you know, that's how it is. It makes sense. I'm the best TikToker in professional wrestling. You know, I think the better question is like, why would I not be on here? Why would I not?
I dig it. You brought up WWE. I would love to know how your day went. Take me through a day. I know you said Raw and 205 and AEW. Yes. How does your day go? Like, can you take us through a day?
As Jackson James.
As Jackson James. There you go.
The life of Jackson James.
Absolutely. So they were both pretty spectacular. Monday Night Raw and 205 Live. Both were a little bit different. The Monday Night Raw day, I'd yet to do anything really with WWE. I'd been in like the No Way Jose Conga line, and they had me in the stands at one point, and I was like standing in the background of a Shayna Baszler like entrance at NXT TakeOver. I believe it was 25, I think it was. But I still was just like a random kid back there. Like, and I was 18. Keep in mind, I'm 18 and I'm still very, very young and still very unaware of everything and how everything works. I'm still learning as I go. But I show up to the arena. I think I was there for maybe 30 minutes. And Brian Myers, Kurt Hawkins at the time, who is one of the men who trained me, owns Creative Pro, walks up to me and VSK and says, "It's you two versus the Viking Raiders today." And he just keeps walking. Like, this was such a pass-by conversation. Like, Vinny and I are standing there. He just walks right by, says it, and then Vinny and I just say, "Oh, thank you." And we just look at each other. We're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then kind of from there, you kind of just like, you don't know who you go and speak to. You don't know like what you do. So about like an hour later, you see the Viking Raiders. I'm like, "Hey guys, just want to let you know, I'm Jack. This is VSK. We're going to be wrestling tonight." They said, "Great. We'll come find you when it's time to go." And then from there, it was kind of identical to an independent show. Just the production is a lot bigger, a lot more massive. The rehearsal is a lot more in depth. But it really was the same. You know, we got together, they threw out their ideas, and they told us what they would like from us. And, you know, eventually we were told, get in gear. And when it's time to go, get to grill. It was it's my favorite part about going to any big company backstage, WWE or AEW, is I love seeing the whole process and how it works, but I love seeing how similar it is to an independent show. It's just on a much bigger scale. And obviously, the characters truthfully are a lot more larger than life than you would find on like the independent scene, but it's really cool.
Cool. And how did AEW go? Similar?
AEW is definitely similar. I think the difference is, well, there's two big differences with AEW. One is I'm a lot older at this point.
Yep.
And 3 years isn't crazy, but like there's been a lot of maturing. It's I've experienced a lot more in the last few years since WWE, because when I wrestled for WWE, I hadn't even been working shows a year. I had no real experience. The only companies I wrestled for was Creative Pro and Victory Pro. I think maybe Wrestle Pro once. I was never out there. Like, this was a very bottled experience I had. And then AEW, I'd branched out a bit. I'd wrestled all over the Northeast, a few different companies, and I had met different people. But the second difference, besides being mature, or what I like to think is mature, I don't know, was the fact that Creative Pro is basically AEW. Like, there's at least 10 guys from Creative Pro at AEW, and like at the same time, they are on TV. They are doing this weekly. This is like a full-on career for them. Yeah. They're still my friends. They're still the people that I met when I was 15, that have watched me grow up, have seen me experience my first match to my first heartbreak to my first injury. Like, they've seen me throughout my life, both as a wrestler and as a person. So like, it was a lot more comfortable. You could walk up to more people and just be like, "Hey, I know you. What's up?"
Yeah. That's dope.
You wrestled MJF at Creative Pro, right?
Yes, I was Creative Pro, MJF's last Creative Pro match.
Right.
I like to say that I retired MJF.
Yeah. You beat him.
I mean, technically, you beat him and he left. So, like, who's going to argue with you?
I retired MJF. I really hope I get to like expand on that someday down the line.
Yeah.
How I retired MJF.
Yeah, that could be an easy built-in story, down the road for sure. What was it like working with MJF? Because I mean, we've seen how he's progressed ever since then. Yeah. Did you like working with him? So
I loved it. I loved it. I go back between that one and a couple others, but to this day, that might be my favorite match I've ever had. It was a lot of fun, but it was very intimidating for two reasons. One, dude he's a scary guy. Like, he's the salt of the earth, he's like, he's the salt of the earth. He's better than you. But from the time I met him when I was 15, and when I met him, and I'm not joking, this isn't like a story like to make MJF more MJF. I'm literally sitting in my car waiting for them to open the doors to the school. And the trainer that day was running late. So up walks MJF. And at the time, he's not the big indie darling he became or the AEW star that he is now. So this guy, this muscular dude with like, and I didn't know what the tattoo was at the time, but this big tattoo on his arm, just walks up to my car window and knocks on the door. And I'm like, hello. And I rolled down the window. I'm like, hi. And he's like, are you the new kid? And I go, yeah. And he goes, they're running late. Just thought I'd let you know. And I was like, thanks, man. And he just walks away all angry. And then 5 minutes later, he comes back up to the car and goes, come with me. And I'm like, what? And he's like, come with me. And I go, okay. So I say goodbye to my brother. I get in the car with this complete stranger. And the second the door shuts and I'm in his car, he looks at me and goes, all right, how many independent promotions you know? And I go, what? And he goes, what's your favorite match? And I'm like, what? And he just starts rattling off these wrestling questions. And I'm like, I hadn't even had a day of training yet. So I'm like petrified. Wow. I'm like, dude is scaring me. And he basically made me feel like I knew nothing about wrestling. Because like, that's hard to answer on the spot.
Yeah.
Whenever I go into podcasts like this one, I always think like, all right, if they're going to ask me this question, I could answer it this way. I could answer it this way. I didn't think about this stuff. I didn't even know if the wrestling shoes I had were good for the ring. So like, I was terrifying. And then now fast forward, I'm wrestling him. I'm like, oh, great. Going at this again. So.
Yeah, well, he
got your revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I knew also he was going to AEW. I knew this was his last match because he was going to AEW. So I knew there was going to be some eyes on it. I knew that would raise the stakes. So it was a very big opportunity. And I'm very proud of what I performed in that day.
Yeah. I mean, he had to, see something in you to let you go over. I mean, not let you, but have the ending of the match, you going over. So, I mean, that's awesome, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's backtrack a second. You talked about Cardona and we talked about Hawkins. I would love to get your take on the match you had with those two guys. But before we get to that, you can log on to YouTube, check out all of Jack Tomlinson's amazing matches as well as his content. But enough about that. Jack, how was it, man? Let's hear it.
Mm-hmm. It to me is the most in-depth story that anyone at Creative Pro has ever had. And I will take that to the bank. It's one of the most in-depth stories you could have in wrestling. And it's you see it on TV time and time again. You saw it recently with MJF and Punk. It is someone who you grew up watching, someone who inspired you to become a wrestler, now being your equal almost. It's pretty crazy. You share the ring with someone you used to watch on television. And this is, for me and Matt, it was over a decade long story between me and him. First meeting, between him rising through the ranks in 2011 and becoming the United States champion, and now to share the ring with him, but to do it in such a different way I ever expected. I always expected it was going to be, oh my God, it's my childhood hero, like I get to wrestle him type of thing. And it wasn't like that. I was coming in and I'm like, yo, Major Pod sucks. You guys are trying to gyp my boy Eric of his title. You're trying to gyp Dante and I of our tag titles. So it was from a completely different angle. So I wasn't prepared for that. So that was really cool. That was a curveball. I was really excited about that. At the same time, we were able to tell the same story that I just mentioned. The young kid ends up wrestling a childhood hero of his in this 1 minute part of the match. where the whole ring is everyone steps aside and it's just me and Matt, and you can hear it on commentary, you can hear it from the crowd. Because I grew up with Creative Pro. They've known me since I was 15. I'm not ashamed to say it. Everybody knows that my favorite wrestler is Zack Ryder. Everybody knows I grew up loving Long Island Ice. I'm not ashamed of it. There's no part of it that should be. If I wouldn't be a wrestler, I wouldn't be making content if it wasn't for him. So to have that 1 minute where it felt like everybody else and everything else in the world stopped. Everything didn't matter. Nothing could ruin a moment between me and Matt. But at the same time, it also is probably one of the only moments in my life I felt that everyone got everything. Yep. I don't know how to word it much better.
No, that's perfect.
I remember I watched a podcast with Cody Rhodes talking about his match with Rollins at Mania. And he says, oftentimes wrestlers make the mistake of thinking everybody knows their story. Everybody knows what's going on. And he says at Mania, it truly did feel like everyone knew. I'm not comparing me wrestling a cap in front of those 200 people to wrestling at WrestleMania, 70,000 people. I'm not comparing me to Cody Rhodes.
But the idea.
Yes, it truly felt like everyone there got what Matt and I were doing. They understood that the big picture is Major Pod versus Larger Than Life. But this small little 1 minute you're about to get is Matt versus his biggest fan. Biggest fan versus childhood hero. Like, I thought that was beautiful to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, you brought up the Long Island IZ and this internet show. Like, Zack Ryder was one of the first guys that really took advantage of social media and all that stuff. How big of an influence was he in developing your character as the Vessler? Because it seems like there's a lot of parallels there.
Shoot, yeah. Oh gosh, it's he always likes to point that out, Cardona. He likes to point
stole my gimmick.
Everything. The thing about Matt is, or Zach, is I would not be a fan of wrestling if it wasn't for him. I did not like wrestling. My brother used to watch it, and I would see him watch it, and I was like, all right, I don't know what this is. Like, it's not my thing.
Yeah.
I never disliked it. It just wasn't my thing. And then one day I walked in and I saw Hugh Jackman on TV with Zack Ryder, and I know Wolverine. Everyone likes Wolverine.
Yeah.
Right.
So you see Hugh Jackman with Zack Ryder, you're like, all right, who's this guy? This guy's got to be important. And then he started being like so cocky and so arrogant, but in a lovable, charming way that only Zack Ryder and a handful of wrestlers can do. And it was so captivating, and I loved it, and I fell for it. And then for about 5 years after that, I never missed actually probably 7 years after that, I think went until I was 18. I never missed a single episode of Raw or SmackDown. Like every Monday, every Friday, I watched every single episode, or into Tuesday whenever they ended up switching the days for SmackDowns. But I never missed it, and it was solely because of Ryder. And so he's the reason I became a wrestler. The character, the gimmick, all of that actually comes from Jake and Logan Paul. And it also comes from a bit of a push and motivation from some people in Creative Pro kind of helping me out at the start. I was a huge fan of the Paul brothers, and I really liked the fact that they made a TV show about their life. I thought that was so cool. And when you're in high school and you feel like no one likes you and nothing's going right, and what am I going to do with my life? And I love wrestling. I want to be a wrestler, but let's be honest, Jack, you're 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing. Like, the likelihood of you getting there is not there. So what can I do? I can make content, because no matter what anyone tells me in life, no one can tell me what to put on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I had a friend, she made a YouTube channel. She helped teach me how to edit stuff, and that's how that got going. And then when it was finally time to wrestle, and it was finally time to go at Creative Pro, where I debuted against Max Caster, I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what my name should be. I don't know what my character should be. And then someone at Creative Pro kind of looked at me and was like, all right, just use your name. And I go, are you sure? Tomlinson seems kind of long. And they're like, no, just use your name. And guess what, buddy? If you hate it in 6 months, change it. Like, it's okay. Yeah. And then I went, well, what do I do with my character? He goes, you vlog, right? And I went, yeah. He goes, you ever think about walking out to the ring vlogging? And I'm like, no, I haven't. He goes, yeah, no one's doing that. Now, granted, you got afterwards, Tyler Breeze ended up coming out with the selfie stick, and now, Austin Theory is coming out taking selfies, and everyone's got a vlog channel, but there's only one Vessler.
There you go.
Of course, yeah.
Sell it, baby.
Yeah. So it was a compilation of a lot of things. Big journey.
Yeah. That's crazy. For the millions watching this podcast, how does one become a professional wrestler?
Mm-hmm. It starts with, I think, a good school. Find a good school local to you, or even local, using that term, however far you're willing to travel.
Yeah.
You just go there, you train, you learn. I always like to say, keep your mouth shut and your ears open, because you're always going to be a student until the day you die. And you can learn something from everybody. If I was to really sit down and think about everything that goes into wrestling, I would never say that one person taught me everything. I can sit here and go, a lot of what I do in terms of creating content and in terms of advertising myself and charisma and betting on myself comes from Cardona. And I can say my in-ring work comes from VSK, and everything as a whole comes from Pat and Brian. I could say all that, but if I really, really got nitpicky and I really dove into it, I could call a certain person for teaching me selling. I could call a certain person for teaching me a comeback, which is 30 seconds of a match. Granted, if you're John Cena, it's the biggest part of the match, no matter what. Some people, others don't even know it's their comeback. So it depends on the wrestler and how your style. But so many different people have taught me such little things. So that goes to the keeping your ears open to everyone, because you can learn from anyone. Find a good school, train with them, work hard, to answer your question, and then go to local promotions, help set up the ring, introduce yourself, meet people. You'll find in wrestling and in life, a connection is going to be your best friend.
Yeah. And is that how you got on to 205 Live and Raw and AEW? How did that happen? You took us through the day, but how did that happen? Like you said, connection.
Yeah, 100%. Brian Myers.
Awesome.
100%. Brian Myers is the
That's
reason.
dope.
That was the reason I was back there. And I don't know if there was a conversation. I don't know if someone asked Brian, hey, who do you want to use or anything? I don't know. But that's how I got it. I do know the 205 Live match came. We had tryout matches before the show, and I got picked after my match for that. So, but they also just saw me wrestle on Raw the night before, so they knew me already. So,
right,
that's great.
And you faced Mike Kanellis on 205, right?
Yes.
Or Mike Bennett.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
that was great. He was one of the first people I ever saw in Impact when I started watching it as a fan. So that was really cool, because I was wrestling the Miracle, Mike Bennett. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you into Impact back in the day, or do you still keep up with it?
I do keep up. I mean, Brian and Matt are on it, so I always keep up on it for them. Absolutely. I was never as loyal and religious to it as I was WWE. But my dad actually was. There was a long time in my childhood where my father watched Impact, TNA at the time, TNA more than WWE. And that was always how I kind of found things out. He knew, I remember when AJ Styles debuted at the Royal Rumble, my dad, I knew the name AJ Styles, but my dad knew him more than I did. So I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, this guy's the best wrestler in the world. I was like, really? And then I would come to find out he is the best wrestler.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I mean, ever since then, I mean, wrestling has just expanded. It seems like the indie scene is thriving as much as it's ever been. Do you have any? Because you said you just came back from Ireland. I don't know if you've wrestled overseas or not, but is that something that you aspire to do?
I would love to. Ireland has OTT, over the top wrestling, and I wanted to wrestle there so bad. The show they were having during, and I wasn't booked on it at all, but the show they were having while I was there got canceled. Damn. And I was so upset because I was going to show up and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Love to wrestle over there. I loved Ireland. I would love to go back anytime I could.
That's dope.
Yeah, because I've been watching a lot of old school Progress, and I've watched a little bit of OTT too. So yeah, definitely, because that's where Jordan Devlin and a bunch of those guys in NXT UK came from. So yeah, that's really interesting though.
I love NXT UK. I think it's great. Well, I think one of the best wrestlers in the world is Tyler Bate.
Yes,
for sure.
I think
you're talking to two of the best guys for this, dude. We love NXT UK, man.
Awesome. It's so great. Arguably my favorite match that I ever watched from NXT was NXT Chicago. It wasn't UK, but it was Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate. NXT UK guys, they were
phenomenal.
That's wrestling right there.
Yeah,
it's like its own little bubble away from WWE. It feels like nobody pays attention to it, so they kind of get different.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
But I think can they work? I feel like some of them do work independent shows as well.
I think on occasion, yeah.
So like that, they have that benefit as well.
Yeah.
I mean, would they rather? I don't know. I don't know what they would rather, SmackDown or NXT UK. But like one of the benefits I know of like AEW is these guys get to work independent shows if they really want to. So it's cool.
Yeah, I love it. Winding down the clock here, Jack. What's next for you, brother? You just graduated college. That's a huge deal. You just went on an amazing family trip with your, to Ireland. What's next?
There's a few really big things in terms of life. Got to figure out how to not be broke from last year because, like we learned earlier, the world is expensive. Yep. No, I'm kidding. I've been acting. I've been taking some acting classes, and I'm trying to break in.
I saw Spider-Man.
Yeah. What? Boom, there we go.
I said, yeah, I saw Spider-Man. I know you've been acting.
Yeah, just a little movie here, a little movie there.
Hey,
But sorry, that was funny. Trying to get into that. I've always loved cinema. I've always loved film. I've always had an appreciation for it, and it's truly so much fun. So I'm hoping to get into that. In terms of wrestling, like we pointed out earlier, I just became like a couple weeks ago the Victory Pro Wrestling champion. So I'm going to start defending this. I'm super excited. I love being at VPW. It's like a second home for me in independent wrestling. So I get to keep defending this, and then Creative Pro. We're returning there real soon. Hopefully I get my revenge on the Shook Crew because the Shook Crew sucks. Shook Crew's terrible. They cheated Eric James out of his Creative Pro championship, but even worse than that, and no offense, Eric, not that you're not super important, muy importante. Worse than that, Max Caster. We know Max Caster. He's in the he's scissoring other men. And that's your thing. No, nothing wrong with that. You do you, man. Power to you. But like, what is not power to you? Assaulting people with a chain. I mean, everyone saw it. It was streamed. It was on my YouTube channel. Like, there is video footage. He comes out to the ring. He had no business being out there.
While you're vlogging, while you're live.
I am just having a fun time. I'm trying to cheer on Eric as he's trying to win a championship. The ref is being biased against him. So me and the ref are having a bit of a dispute for a hot second, just a hot second, because I let my emotions get the better of me. But like, you're screwing like my friend here, like Eric's my boy, you're screwing him. I had to say something. And then Max comes out and just willingly takes off his chain, puts it around his hand, and just punches me in the face. And I don't know if anyone's seen this video. I don't know if we could throw the video up now. Like, if you watch it, I literally just drop. I get hit and I just fall to the ground. I mean, it was painful. I got cracked in the face with a chain. You know what? You want to come out and wrestle? You want to have a fight? That's fine. All's fair when you're in the squared circle. There was no need for a chain. He assaulted me.
That's too far.
Hashtag Max Caster assaulted me. So that's what's next at Creative Pro. I need to get my revenge on him. I need to come back at him. I already released a freestyle rap on him. I don't think I have a career in rapping, but I will say my disses were pretty fire.
Can we get a live performance of that rap?
Let's hear it. Come on.
Nick, give him a beat.
I don't even know if I remember. Wait, hang on. I gotta think. What was it?
Or just make another freestyle.
Yeah.
Yo.
I like it so far.
Listen, I can't believe I'm about to do this. I'm gonna see what I remember.
Ass boys.
Right. Cap the grand stage coming out to help my champ. I blanked on the words already. Dang, I got that.
Whatever.
Stage coming out to help the champ. Things are coming out to help the champ. Things were looking good. Toss a caster on the ramp. I knew I was in for a potential mic drop. Didn't know he'd use a chain to ring my clock. I was assaulted. The best wrestler alive. I was assaulted by that platinum guy. I was assaulted. Caster, you are whack. How could you do that to the leader of the pack? I was assaulted.
Boom.
It's pretty damn good. That's a lot. Yeah. I was hoping it was going to be garbage, but that was actually pretty good.
Thank you. Oh, you never heard it?
I have not, but now I have, and
I couldn't believe I'm so embarrassed that I just blanked on the first part. I couldn't.
Yeah, we'll cut that out.
There's more to it. There's more to it.
I'm gonna check it out now.
Yeah,
beat behind it or whatever.
I know I make fun of him because I have more followers than him, even though he has a TV contract and he's on television every single week. Just saying, that's pretty embarrassing.
Yikes.
Dig it.
Well, he's not the Vessler though.
He's not the Vessler. There is no
nothing.
There's only one Vessler in professional wrestling, and that is me.
Not Austin Theory.
There's other vloggers, and they're great.
Theory.
What about Theory?
No,
he just takes pictures of himself. There's people that they have little sticks.
Selfies. They're great. They're great selfies. He seems like a tremendous guy, great friend. But he's not a wrestler. He couldn't do what I do. See,
he ain't no Jack.
Theory is taking photos. Photos are awesome. They're great. Instagram's awesome. But what's more difficult? Take a photo or take a video and talk and tell an entire story while also wrestling a match? I don't know. Think about it.
Nothing.
Or while getting assaulted with a chain from behind. But there's highs and lows, I guess.
Yeah,
or a low blow from Swoggle.
That, oh my gosh, dude.
I'm
not even gonna, that one I don't even want to entertain. Hashtag Ninja Pod cheated again. That's not like a conspiracy. It's just a straight up fact. Everyone in Major Pod is out to get me and my boy Dante, the other member of Vlogbro University. But come on, is anyone gonna watch that match back in the first 30 seconds of the match? Not even we're in the tail end and emotions are all over the place and things are flaring. No, he literally points at the ref and goes, "Ref, close your eyes," and the ref just willingly goes.
Yep. He was paid.
Punches me in a place where the sun don't shine. What?
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Dude, I'm just saying, hashtag Major Pod cheated again. Hashtag Max Caster assaulted me. At what point does the entire internet rise up and realize that Creative Pro is holding, I don't want to say holding us back, because no one can hold me and Dante back because we're amazing, but willingly going out of their way to single Dante and I out? I'm just saying, putting that out there.
It's a conspiracy, man. Montreal who? This is the new screw job right here.
Creative Pro screw job.
There we go. Let's get it trending.
Let's go.
A lot of hashtags. Hashtag Major Pod cheated again. Hashtag Show Crew cheated. Hashtag Max Caster assaulted me. Hashtag Creative Pro screw job. Hashtag Jackpack for life. Hashtag subscriber stomp, because I had the best stomp in the history of professional wrestling, because with one stomp I not only beat you, pin you 1, 2, 3, but I make you subscribe to JT Vlogs. I'm very proud of that finisher.
Damn, that's seems like you're throwing shade at somebody.
No. I would never ever envision myself throwing shade at anyone.
Boom.
Jack freaking Tomlinson would never do that.
Yeah.
Jack freaking Tomlinson would never do that. I would not want to burn any bridges with any potential future opponents. But even if I did burn a bridge, I feel like I could know a architect who could rebuild it. Maybe even redesign it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Potentially reclaim it.
Kyle, seems like he's thinking. Come on.
Oh, let's just keep this thing Rollins.
Yeah. Boom.
Come on. All right. Now I'm drained.
That's the perfect one. That was.
I dig it.
It's teamwork. It's teamwork. We all rebuilt it and reclaimed it.
That was great. That one was fun.
Jack, it's been an honor. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Give the people what they want. How can they find you?
You can find me on all social media platforms. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. Both are at Jack Tomlinson 2000. You can find me on Twitter at Jack Tomlinson 00. You can find me on YouTube at Jack Tomlinson Vlogs. There you will find the vlog of my day wrestling, Matt Cardona. You'll find the vlog of me wrestling MJF. You'll find the freestyle rap diss track on Max Caster, because remember, hashtag Max Caster assaulted me. And also you can get the merchandise. ProWrestlingTees.com/JT Vlogs. I am currently repping the gray JT logo. This is my favorite.
I dig it. Is that a new one?
This one's it's not new. It's probably about a year old, but this is my favorite one. I just had 2 shirts actually drop. I don't have them with me, but they are the Jackpack Spider-Man logo. I might actually have a picture of it if you would like to see it.
Let's do it.
Pull that up right now.
I'm still waiting for that Spider-Man suit to drop that you wore for your graduation.
That suit, I love that suit. That suit I had to get that from Germany. That was tough to get a hold of.
Yeah, I imagine there's not a lot of places selling that kind of stuff.
It was so hard to find it. And I actually had to go talk to a girl at my school who's a foreign exchange student, and she had to help me navigate the website because it was in German. I could see the picture, but it was in German, so she had to help me. But this is the new design. Put it right up to the camera, I think.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I can see it pretty clear.
Available in blue and white as well.
Clean. Like it.
I love it. So great. Hopefully get stickers of those too for the merch tables, but those shirts are available on ProWrestlingTees.com/JT Vlogs.
There you go. Jack, thank you very much. Tyler, aka Kyle, give the people what they want.
Oh, me? Oh, well, I'm not a wrestler, but if you want to listen to me talk about wrestling, Apron Bump Podcast, apronbump.com, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yes, sir. You can find us on Twitter at the UW Pod and Instagram at UW Podcast. Peace.